Hello, and welcome to a new Syntakt video. Today we are going to make some techno, and we'll be using SD Basic. There it is, SD Basic as our main sound source. SD Basic is one of the machines that got directly lifted from the model cycles, and obviously gaining some extra parameters to adjust in the process. I mean, at its core, it's a snare drum, but it can do a lot more. I've actually made a video before demonstrating the variety of sounds that you can coax out of SD Basic, sort of as like an idea about like, hey, it's good practice to dive into single machines and see how much you can pull out of it. Because in combination with like modulation, LFOs, filtering, whatever, it turns out you can do a lot. In this case, though, we are going to focus on more like percussive sounds and a bit more atmospheric, sort of like riser sounds to support our groove. So yeah, let's dive in. So our basic SD Basic sound. Add a bit of drive first. Actually, we need to get rid of sweep. And add a bit of punch. And make our amp envelope ADSR. So now we have the... That's better. So if you sweep, mod feedback, and in harmonicity, you get these almost chordal sounds, lots of harmonics in there, which is what we want. Because we're gonna make some kind of percussive, almost tom sounds, I would say. Anyway, let's go with this for now. Next up, we are going to add an LFO to tune because we are going to FM it. One of my favorite things to do, as you all know. Obviously, different LFO shapes. Give you like different like textures. So, I mean, play around with that and just, see what tickles your fancy in this case. I'm just going to keep it triangle. Also, LFO depth can give you wildly different sounds. Actually, I mean, if I would be making a hi-hat or something with SD Basic, I would do this. Very high LFO depth on the FM, and then just here. Drop out the lows, the bass width filter. And then you would have a hi-hat of some sorts. But that's not what we're doing today. So we're keeping the depth actually quite low. Filter it down a bit. Give a bit of envelope. A bit more drive. Right, getting there. Now, for our second LFO, are going to modulate the modulation envelope. We're doing that with a random LFO. Set it to hold, yes. As you can hear, it's a very subtle change, but as we are going to work with quite short sequences, with like polymetric sequences, those slight changes will keep it from sort of like sounding stale, because it sort of like slightly varies over time, constantly, which keeps the groove more interesting. All right. Also, let's add a bit of reverb. I have my reverb set to very low decay time and quite a bit of pre-delay, which is good for more percussive sounds, I would say. And now you can play with mod feedback to sort of change the tone of your sound a bit. I mean, let's go with this for now, just and record a little sequence. We're in track 1, yes. As you can see, I'm using 5 steps, so it's just a very short sequence, which will be our sort of like our first rhythmic bass. And I'm just going to pick some notes and record. Maybe this. There you go. All right. Oh yeah, our tempo is 140 BPM, like, you know, quite fast techno tempo. No swing. I might add some swing later. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe let's p-lock some a bit of inner harmonicity and the modulation feedback to get some slight changes in sound with every note. That's all right. And maybe put in another trig and have that trigger not as much. Maybe every third time or something. Yeah, like that. But it definitely needs to be more subtle. All right. That's good. Now we're going to take our first track or our first sound and copy it. And then go to our second sound, paste. I mean, just using like a higher pitch is already differs it quite a bit already. But we're going to change some LFO settings. Just to differentiate it a bit from our first sound. And on this second track, we have a 6-step sequence. So it's going to be 5 or 6 over 5 or 5 over 6, however you want to call it. But yeah, it will be a little like polymetric percussion groove going on. Just let's record something, see what it sounds like. Okay, let's also just p-lock some inharmonicity and modulation. Okay, that's good. Maybe also do a bit of panning on some steps, you know, to give it a bit more bass or space in the stereo field. All right, I like that. Maybe see what it sounds like with a kick drum, right? Because then you can hear it a bit more in context. All right, I'm pretty happy with that actually. Now, let's take our second sound and copy the track again. For our third sound, we're going to go a bit more like a riser. I'm opening up the filter, of course, but also want to add a way longer attack on the amp envelope. I was wondering what that sound was, but it was a square LFO that sort of like started to sort of like beat at the high speed. So I know what's going on there. So what I want to do with this sound is kind of have like this sort of like slow rising texture at the end of 4 bars. And actually, as you can hear, I've not changed anything. See, you can hear it's the same tonality. I just changed the amp envelope really, and we already have like a completely different sound. But just changing some of these parameters already changes it up quite, you know, dramatically already. And obviously, you can play with LFO settings to adjust it to your liking. I like this. This is good. Maybe shape it a bit with the bass width filter. And also, as you can hear, it still slightly changes every time you trigger it because of the random LFO that goes to the modulation envelope, which makes it so that it's, you know, every 4 bars you have a slightly different riser, which is what we want. All right, let's program that into our sequencer. Before I do, I can show you this is going to be 4 bars, and the last bar will have the riser. Maybe make our attack a bit longer. It's too long. Shorter still. Even shorter. I like that. Maybe a bit of resonance actually. Yeah, a bit lower in volume. Okay, now I want to add some motion to the whole thing. So what I will do is take these 3 tracks and put them through the effects track. All right, a couple of things going on here. Obviously, I have 4 tricks that trick when the kick drum's trigging. Could have done that with the new track relations thing, but you know, since it's just 4 to the floor, it's just as easy. So I'm ducking these sounds a bit with the amp envelope. I'm adding a bit more reverb and delay. But the main thing is that I have the filter dropped slightly with a bit of resonance. But I have an LFO modulating the filter pan, which gives it this slight motion. It's very subtle, but it kind of moves the percussion a bit like in the stereo field. Which really glues it together. There's a bit of drive to sort of like give it a bit of crunch, but not a lot. All right, let's do one more sound. Let's take our percussion again. All right. I want to have like some like more high percussive accent on this track. This might be all right. Okay. Let's vary the sounds on this step a bit. Yeah, I want something like that. That's nice. Yeah. And then soften the attack a bit. That's all right, actually. Maybe pan it a bit. Pan these sounds a bit as well. A bit higher pitch. Yeah. And actually, this will land right on the hi-hat, so maybe I need to move these two a bit. Right, I think we're done. Let's just jam with this a bit and add some other elements that really that just tie it together as a nice little techno groove. Let's go. First up, we have this little up going, which is just on the off beats, which really ties the sort of like the low end together and gives it a bit of like a solid, foundation to just do whatever on top with your percussion. And then, of course, the hi-hats. Sounds pretty good, I think. All right, let's do some control all stuff. Nice. Do that again. Maybe some the build up, the excitement. You guys ready? Here we go. All right, sounds killer, I think. But yeah, SD Basic, it's your little techno friend. And you can do a lot more with it. I showed you that you could easily make like a hi-hat or something, but you can also do like more melodic stuff if you back off the let me go to a correct track. If you back off the inharmonicity and the modulation, you can just, make proper melodies with this, with like a lead sound or even a bass sound. So yeah, definitely explored this one a lot because there's a lot in there, and it's it's really nice for these metallic, clangy sounds with some FM. But there's a lot of mileage to be had out of a simple snare drum machine. So, you know, even though it's called SD Basic, it's far from basic. You can do a lot with it. So yeah, that's it for today. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, of course. Share this with all your Syntakt friends. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.